In the bustling world of late-night television, where jokes fly faster than the speed of light and rivalries simmer just below the surface, Greg Gutfeld was known for his sharp wit and unapologetic style. One evening on Gutfeld, the studio was abuzz with anticipation as Greg prepared to address a question that had been on many viewers' minds: why hadn't he invited Jimmy Fallon onto his show? The episode kicked off with Greg's signature monologue, filled with his usual humor and biting commentary. But then, he paused, a glint of mischief in his eyes. "Alright, folks, I know what you're thinking. Why hasn't Greg invited Jimmy Fallon on the show? Well, let me tell you, it's a story worth sharing." As the audience leaned in, Greg began to weave a tale. "It all started at an awards show last year. I was minding my own business, trying to enjoy my shrimp cocktail, when I overheard Jimmy talking to a group of comedians about how he's the king of late night. He was throwing around stories of his wildest guests and the biggest laughs." Greg leaned closer to the camera, almost conspiratorial. "Now, I'll admit, I have a bit of a competitive streak. I thought, what if I had Jimmy on my show? Would he steal my thunder? Would my jokes suddenly fall flat?" The crowd chuckled, and Greg continued, "So, I decided to keep him at bay. I thought, let's see if he can handle the heat of the Gutfeld kitchen. I knew if I invited him, I would have to step up my game, and honestly, I was a little scared of the man's charm." He paused for effect, letting the laughter die down before adding, "But then something unexpected happened. I found out that Jimmy had a secret. He was actually a fan of my show. Can you believe it? The king of late night, watching my antics. I was flattered, but it also made things more complicated." Greg leaned back in his chair, tapping his fingers together. "So here I am, torn between inviting him on and worrying that my audience might suddenly switch allegiances. But then I realized something important. It's not about competition, it's about fun. And if I invite Jimmy, we could have a legendary showdown of laughs." The audience erupted in applause, and Greg smiled, reveling in the moment. "So, here's the deal, Jimmy. If you're watching, the invitation's open. Let's sit down and see who can make the other laugh harder. Who knows? We might just create the most memorable night in late night history." Thank you for watching.